Christians, we have all experienced doubt at some level. For some of us, those doubts started our deconstructing journey, and for others, they were just a passing thought. But if you took your doubts to a church leader and were turned away or discouraged from asking questions, I want to let you know that there is hope. So today we look at a personal and practical resource to help doubters just like you. Hello, doubters. Jonathan McLatchie is a good friend of mine and someone passionate about walking with you through your doubts. So let's welcome Jonathan to the show.
Oh, thanks so much for having me, Tim. It's great to be here again.
Well, Jonathan, I'm excited about this resource that you have, and we're going to spend some time just kind of unpacking that. First, just take me back to the beginning. So tell me how this resource came about, how this website came about. Give me some of the background information that led up to this excellent resource.
Sure. So I've been doing this privately since 2016 through my personal website. First, it was apologetics-academy.org. That website is now no longer existent, but I have a new website, jonathanmclatchie.com. So between those two websites, going back to 2016, I had a link on my website where people could fill out a form and tell me about their intellectual doubts concerning the veracity of the Christian faith. And then that would come to me, and I would set up an online meeting with them to discuss their doubts in confidence and help them to build a protocol for working through doubts in an intellectually responsible and methodical way. And so I, on average, have been getting, since 2016, about 1 or 2 requests a week on average. And so I've been able to sustain that pretty well just by myself. But more recently, I've thought, well, what if we were able to push this resource out further and get more publicity for it, perhaps invest some money in getting advertisement and so forth? Because there's so many deconversions that you see on YouTube. I've watched hundreds, if not thousands, of deconversion stories on YouTube, and I've talked to plenty of people that have deconverted or are considering deconverting. Mm-hmm. And I feel like a lot of a story I hear over and over again is that people went to their pastor and they didn't know any of the answers. They went to their family and they weren't able to help them. They went to their friends and they said, you just have to have faith and so forth. And so what I wanted to do was to create a situation where going forward, no one will ever be able to say that no one was there for me. No one was able to answer my questions. No one was willing to sit down one-on-one and spend time with me and actually walking through these intellectual objections. And so I figured, of course, that if we were able to push this resource out more, I wouldn't be able to do it all by myself. So I decided to try to enlist other people to help me with this project. And I've been quite impressed with the number of scholars with professorship positions who have been willing to sacrifice their time for this ministry, for this endeavor, because they see the value in this project. So that's basically the story.
Yeah, well, I do want you to name names, but not quite yet. So there's some really integral people that you've had partnerships with and you've had relationships with that have stepped on to say, I want to be part of this effort as well. So I want to get to those. But first, you talked about it a little bit, but describe kind of who this website is for. Who is it the resource for? You talked about the people that are asking those questions or that are doubting their faith, but give a little bit more legs to that. If someone's watching this and they're dealing with deconstruction, they're kind of going through some of that process, how would they know if they should visit your site and click on the button, which we're going to look at again towards the end, but who is this for?
So it's primarily for Christians who are wrestling with intellectual doubts concerning the Christian faith, and they want a scholar to come alongside them and walk through their objections and spend time with them one-on-one over a live interactive Zoom call where they can actually have a conversation with these experts in their fields. And it's also for ex-Christians, people who are perhaps recent deconverts who want to explore whether the reasons that they have for deconversion are really rational. And also for people that don't have a Christian background but are interested and have sincere questions about Christianity. It's for them as well. So so anyone that fits into any of those categories is welcome to go and fill out a form on the website, and we'll assign you an expert on that subject.
Well, one of the reasons that I was so excited about this whole project when you messaged me about it is because one of the things that was integral in my deconstruction process that ended up being a reconstructing effort was having my friend Andy do exactly what you talked about, being able to ask those questions, being able to kind of unpack some of those things. And subsequently, I talked about on a recent video of mine how there was other people such as yourself that, was willing to entertain some of those doubts, to have conversations over Messenger or whatnot. Bobby Conway is another one that I've, brought a lot of my questions to, but there were several other people. And so just having that one person that you can kind of go to, or building that relationship and having that friendship with somebody is so important to kind of just working through this, no matter where the journey ends up. Obviously, you and I both in full candor would love them to, remain a Christian or to find Jesus again in that sense. But really just having and building that relationship is so important. So we kind of foreshadowed some of this a little bit before, but talk about some of the people that you have reached out to through your relationships that wanted to be part of this and are going to be on, kind of the team, if you will, the scholars that you mentioned before. Who are some of those folks? Because I think some people will recognize their names.
So one scholar that I've done, that even before this new ministry launched, I've been doing, has been joining me for some of these calls on a semi-regular basis, is Dr. Timothy McGrew. He is a philosophy professor at Western Michigan University. He's very knowledgeable in Christian epistemology and evidence for the resurrection, especially New Testament reliability and that kind of thing. Also, Dr. Stephen Meyer of the Discovery Institute. He is a PhD in philosophy of science from Cambridge, and he's also volunteered to be part of the team. We also have Dr. Justin Bass, who is New Testament PhD. We also have Dr. David Galloway, who is a Scottish medical physician. He's actually the president of the UK Centre for Intelligent Design. We have Dr. Max Baker-Heitch, who is a philosophy PhD, and he teaches philosophy at Oxford. We have Cal Hewitt, who is a philosophy PhD candidate at Western Michigan University. We have Wesley Huff, who is New Testament PhD candidate at University of Toronto. We have Dr. Luke Barnes, who is PhD in astrophysics.
Yep.
He's based in Sydney, Australia, and he's one of the leading experts on the fine-tuning argument for the existence of God. So these are just a few of the people that we have on. Also, Dr. Chris Winchester, who's a New Testament PhD. So yeah, these are just a small sample of the people that we have on the website as part of the team. You're welcome to go and check out talkaboutdoubts.com for a listing of some of the other people.
Well, and that's great. And so one of the common threads that I was seeing in there is, and if you really want to have a conversation with someone that has a really awesome accent, just sign up, because it seems like most of the people you mentioned, Scottish, we got Australian, yourself has an English accent. There's several others in there. And I just have a boring American accent. So that's just me. But I'm on that team as well, willing to help out, have a few people that I've reached out to. And so kind of with that, tell us some of the stories of people's journeys that they've been on throughout the few years since 2016, when you started meeting with people on a fairly regular basis. Talk about just maybe one or two of those stories, without revealing the names unless you have approval from them. But just give us a little bit picture of that journey before we talk about the actual website and the process that you'll take people through.
Sure. One guy that I've done several mentoring sessions with over the course of several months. Actually reconverted from the Christian faith. He had deconverted for
Excellent.
a good 2 or 3 years, and he recently reconverted to Christianity on the basis of the evidence, in particular the evidence for the resurrection of Jesus and the New Testament reliability and so forth. There's another guy that myself and Dr. Timothy McGrew have been mentoring over the period of several months. Who had a lot of doubts about the veracity of the Christian faith, and we've been trying to help him navigate some of these issues. And sitting down, for quite a while we were doing a session every 2 weeks, talking about the evidence for Christianity. So yeah, a lot of these sessions turn into a more long-term mentoring relationship where we
Right.
talk every week or two and go through objections to the Christian faith and talk about the evidence for it, and just help people to navigate through those waters as well. So.
What are some of the similarities or some of the commonalities that you find between the people that you're talking to? Is there some kind of common denominators, things that might have led up to them having doubts or questions, or common questions that come up, things that you feel like you're addressing on a fairly regular basis? Are there any common threads or themes that you see?
Yeah, divine hiddenness is probably the most popular concern. Yesterday, actually, I had a session with a guy on the problem of divine hiddenness, and the whole conversation was about that. So that's probably the most popular one.
Which you and I have done an episode on my channel talking about divine hiddenness. So if anyone's interested, if that's something that has come up for anybody that's watching this, I'll go ahead and put a link in the description of this episode where you and I have a long conversation about that. Any other commonalities or threads that you've seen?
Emotional doubt is quite common. So not everyone's doubt is intellectual or rational. And I personally, that's my weakest area. So I've never experienced emotional doubt. So I find it difficult to relate to in that way, because I've just never experienced it. Because I'm a very rationally oriented person. So my beliefs are driven by rational reasons. But I've got people on the team who are specialized in dealing with emotional doubts as well. So I have people to send those individuals to. These are some of probably the most popular ones. Objections to miracles, historicity of the Gospels and Acts, alleged contradictions in the Bible. These are all common topics. Signs, evolution. Yeah, we get a wide range of things. Pretty much everything that intersects with apologetics, we've had a question on at some point. So.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, again, I'm really excited about this resource. But kind of before we wrap up, talk a little bit about the process that someone should expect if they head to the website. So I'm going to go ahead and bring the website up, and then you can just talk us through it as we're looking at the website. So this is the website, talkaboutdoubts.com. What's the first thing that people should do when they get to the website here?
Yeah, so the tagline, as you see there, says "Unpack doubts about Christianity one-on-one online with experts." So you can submit a question, which will take you straight to the forum, which is below if you click that button, or you can just scroll down, and if you could scroll there. Oops, there you go. Yep. So there's the forum where you can submit a question. So you just write your name and your email address, and the days you're available to Zoom, what days of the week, when is best in the day for you to Zoom, what time, what category of doubt. So you might want to know about the problem of evil, or the problem of divine hiddenness, or signs in the Bible, or history, or something along those lines. And then you just enter your time zone, so we know what time zone you're in the world, your city, and just a paragraph or two about what issues you're struggling with. And then that will help me to determine who to send it to, and also help the person that's it's assigned to prepare to help you with that particular issue. So
yeah, that's awesome. And then so there's some endorsements down here at the bottom, some different people that you've connected with. Sean McDowell, I see one there. That's awesome. Bobby Conway, who actually wrote the book on doubt, if you will, Doubting Towards Faith. So that's awesome. And you got some of the people that you had mentioned earlier here on the team that are kind of popping up as we go down. So that's fantastic. So this is a really, really, really great website. You can email, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram there. You kind of have a process of how it works. So somebody should, when they click on that submission form here, you'll essentially get an email, and then what should people expect kind of after that?
Yeah. So when I get an email through, I then send it to an appropriate expert, and that's based on their expertise, as well as different experts are volunteering different levels of time. So some people are down for like once a week, other people are down for like once a month. So based upon how frequently they want to receive requests and their expertise, that helps me to determine who to send that to. And then you will receive an email from that person, and they will set up a time with you to do a live one-on-one Zoom call to discuss your doubts with you.
And then from there, it could be, man, you could have just one conversation, but from talking to you, the expectation would be more like, okay, you kind of start a relationship and build a friendship and have 4 or 5 or 6 or 7 conversations to kind of continue to deepen that relationship over time. Is that kind of the expectation?
Yeah, if the scholar is willing to do further calls and so forth, then they are more than welcome to do so. I often do that. If the inquirer would like further follow up, then I'm certainly willing to do that. I know that at least some other of the experts on the panel are willing to do that as well. So yeah, absolutely.
No, that's cool. Yeah, so just a quick story before we wrap up. So I had a really good friend of mine kind of pull me into a similar conversation of somebody that was on the atheistic side, didn't really go up with a lot of, religious background necessarily, but he was like, hey, well, I'm having this conversation with a friend. Can you join us? And over the span of 2 years now, we've met every 2 or 3 months and developed quite a relationship with this person. And I can say that this person went from being atheist to some sort of theist. He's not quite over the line to Christianity. The last time we had a conversation, it was around a campfire, and we just kind of, we're talking through some things. And he was like, I'm really interested in this person, Jesus. And so we've been, texting and having, these deeper conversations via text message. We really haven't had a chance to get together in probably 4 or 5 months now, but we, every time we do, something happens. So I just want to reiterate how important it is that you're having these conversations with somebody. If you go to your church and you find that the pastor is just saying, I'm sorry, I can't help you, or you should just believe, or just read more scripture or whatever, or, talk to your small group leader, and your small group leader is like, man, I have no idea. This is a resource that, everybody that's in that category should take advantage of. Jonathan, any closing thoughts?
No, I hope that your viewers will check out the website and submit a form if you're struggling with doubts or you're deconstructing your faith. At least give us the chance to share with you the best arguments for Christianity and the best responses to your objections. At least then you'll be fully informed, so that if you do leave the faith, you can do so in good conscience, knowing that you gave it a good check.
Well, that's fantastic. Well, Ben, thank you so much for checking out this video. I really hope that you take advantage of Jonathan's resource that he has. Jonathan's an amazing guy. He's super smart. He's put together a really great team. And if you're watching this, or you know somebody that has doubts, or if you yourself have doubts, take advantage of this resource. Click on the link in the description. Head on over to the website. Submit a question. It can't hurt just to have a conversation if you find that it's going to be fruitful and that conversation continues, or some of the doubts that you have are assuaged. That is fantastic. That is amazing. I also have another resource, our Facebook group, our Dealing with Deconstruction Facebook group. You're also welcome to join that as well. The link for that is in the description. And with that, we'll meet you next time on Dealing with Deconstruction.